Hi everyone, welcome back to Something New Reviews. Today I will be taking a look at the ANBERNIC RG351P retro handheld. This review is not affiliated with ANBERNIC and the handheld was not supplied by them. This is my own personal opinion and thoughts regarding this handheld. So let's dive right in. I have to say from the onset, there are so many of these retro handhelds out there. It's really difficult to decide which ones to go for. One thing I will say is I'm actually really impressed with the quality of the ANBERNIC RG351P. Just the quality of the handheld overall is very, very good. You have your usual buttons that you would find on a handheld. For the price under $100, it's really, really good. You have your L1, your L2. You have your ports for charging and also for the Bluetooth, as well as your R1 and R2 buttons. You also have the volume on the side. The volume is absolutely excellent on this console, which you'll hear later on. And you have your on-off button and standby button as well. It has two speakers, very loud, very clear. I wouldn't have them too loud, but they are really, really good. You have your micro SD card slot and also the reset button if you have any issues. The back you have your grips that you can hold on to. And yeah, it's just overall, it's just a really, really nice nice machine. 3.5 inch screen. Just overall, really, really good quality. Really impressed with it, and I think anyone who buys this as a retro handheld will be very happy. So let's dive into the settings and everything, and we'll show you exactly what it can do. I'm actually using this on the 351 Elec custom firmware rather than the stock firmware, even though there's nothing wrong with the firmware that it comes with. I just preferred this one, and in the back end it runs RetroArch, which is the standard RetroArch as well. It comes with a 32-bit and 64-bit version of it. As you can see, it's exactly the same as what you would find on any other machine that runs RetroArch. Those who are into retro gaming will be very happy and at home with how this works and the setup and everything. It's very easy, but just remember this runs in the background, so really once you've made your changes to how you want it, really there's no need for you to be going into this because everything runs perfectly on it. When switching it on, boot up is very quick, it doesn't take too long. Emulators are already built in, so you've got your PSP, your PlayStation. As you can see, 77 games on the handheld for that. The Neo Geo Pocket, 118 games already installed. These were already pre-installed as well. The Neo Geo Pocket, 37 games. It also plays the Neo Geo. There's 248 games on that one. The Sega Saturn, 4 games. You have the Mega Drive, 307 games. Work absolutely flawlessly, the Mega Drives. Same with the Sega Master System. As you can see, 573 games. It also has the Sega Genesis, which was the American version of the Sega Mega Drive. Game Gear, again, works absolutely flawlessly. Looks fantastic on the small screen. The Dreamcast, 7 games. Not all of the games work great, I have to say. The Mega CD, absolutely no problems running those games. 13. Mega Drive 32X. 33 of those games. And then you go on to the Super Nintendo. And there's quite a large amount of games for the Nintendo emulators. Again, they all work. The N64 does work, but it's the same as the Dreamcast. It depends what you're going to be playing. What you've got to remember is this is a small handheld. It's only got 1 gig of RAM, so it's not going to be able to play everything absolutely flawlessly. However, what I would say is that all of the games that I've played so far, most of my favourite ones have worked absolutely spot on. There's just been a handful of games that I've found on the Nintendo 64 as well as the Dreamcast that run a little bit slow or are choppy in places. Also, PSP, don't expect to play the likes of God of War on this, at least not at the moment. What I would say is, as the emulators get better, I can see further enhancements being made to some of the gameplay, but at the moment there are certain games that you won't be able to play, and God of War is one of them. But going back to the list of emulators, you've got your Capcom 1, 2 and 3. You saw earlier it's got the DS, Game Gear, the WonderSwan. It's honest, the amount of games that an emulators this can cover is absolutely massive. One thing I do like with the 351 ELEC is the theme sets that you can use for it. They are really, really good. This particular one that I'm using is the Emulec Carbon theme set, and it just allows you to, when you're flicking through the games, it'll show you a brief video of what the actual game is and what the gameplay is. It just saves loads and loads of time of flicking through games, and yes, you can see the box art, but you're not sure what the game itself's like. And it's a really neat feature, which I'm quite sure most people would prefer to have than looking at just the box art. So the actual handheld itself, it runs on the CPU's RK3326 quad core, and it runs at 1.5 gigahertz, and it uses the GPU Mali G31MP2. It has 1 gig of DDR3L memory, and this particular model came with a 64 gigabyte memory, and that's a micro SD card. The screen, as you can see, is really sharp. Colours are excellent on it. It's down to the 3.5 inch screen, which runs at 320 by 480. It's IPS. Like I mentioned earlier, the only issue you may have, or you will have, will be with some of the games and the aspect ratio. But don't worry about that, because you can go in and change those either for individual games or for the full emulator, and it's quite easy to do. There are a load of videos on YouTube showing you how to do that, so don't let that put you off. The battery's 350 milliamp, and it says it'll last for around about 8 hours. I would disagree with that. I reckon you'll get about 6 hours out of it, depending on what type of games you're playing. If you're going to be playing just Dreamcast games and stuff like that, then you're not going to get as much out of it. But the amount on offer here is absolutely outstanding. Some of the machines aren't going to work fantastic because of that 1 gig of RAM. Nintendo 64 games are some of them. However, one thing I would say is that some of the majority of the games that I've tried so far have worked absolutely fine. You get a bit of screen tearing and issues like that, but not massive. Certainly not to put you off playing the game. One thing I would say is with the likes of the PSP, don't expect to be playing God of War, as I mentioned earlier. Just the 1 gig of RAM just isn't going to be powerful enough. And as I mentioned before as well, that's not just to do with the machine, it's down to it's to do with the emulators as well. Hopefully in the future we'll see updates and so on. Another thing to point out is even though the 351P has Wi-Fi, it's not built into it. That's how they were able to reduce the price of it. So you actually get a small dongle with it, Wi-Fi dongle, which you plug into the top and then connect it up to your Wi-Fi. I don't see that as being an issue, to be honest with you, as long as I don't lose the dongle. Some people may not like the idea that they have to have something sticking out of the top of it in order to connect to Wi-Fi. But to be fair, for how often you're going to be having to do that for updates and so on, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The only thing I would say is if you like using Retro Arch achievements, you would need to have that Wi-Fi dongle plugged in all the time. That's the only downfall. But overall, the actual handheld is excellent. And as you can see, the games are running absolutely fantastic on it. I would highly recommend this for for anyone, more so for people on the go where they just want to chuck it into the bag. It's a really sturdy and robust handheld. It's probably one of the best ones that I've used. Even compared to the RG350M, which I also have, that has a metal body. It's nice in its own way. It's obviously not as powerful as the 351P. But what I find is with the 350M, it's cold. It takes, because of the aluminium shell that it uses, it's a really cold handheld to hold. Whereas this, I don't know, there's just something about it. The plastic hard body just feels better in the hand overall. And to be fair, it's my favourite at the moment, by far. I haven't really gone back to the 350M since I bought this one. So that says a lot, really, because the 350M is more expensive. So let's take a look at some Dreamcast gameplay, just so you can see how it runs. I've also turned the volume up a bit on the handheld, so you can see what the sound quality is like. So I'll go quiet from talking for the next few minutes when the gameplay is going. Just to point out as well, I'm going to be doing a future review on another game in handheld that's going to be coming up fairly soon. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video. And also don't forget to check out the website, Something New Reviews, because there's also a handwritten review on there, and there's some future reviews coming up. So as you can see, the sound is very loud on this handheld, very loud indeed.
Next location is London. This is gonna be a match to remember.
And that's it, everyone. Thank you for watching the review. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe and look out for future reviews coming soon. Bye.